Hey everybody, it's Jeff Anderson from Legion M, and I am joined today with two very special guests, and we are so excited to announce our next Legion M project. So below me on my screen, I don't know where she is for you, is our very own Claire Bateman King, who many of you guys have had a chance to get to know over the years. She's based in the UK and is going to be playing a critical role in this project for reasons which you'll learn about in a minute. And to this way on my screen is the one and only Adam Sigal, who is the director of the movie. So welcome, Adam, and welcome to the Legion.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm actually not the one and only Adam Sigal. There's one other Adam Sigal on IMDb. He spells his name similar to mine, and I'm figuring out how to kill him. So
okay, yeah, he's kind of a jerk, I heard. So
that's what I've heard.
Before we go any further, I think it's important that we establish what this movie is that we're talking about. And then I want to talk with Claire and talk about how excited we are for it.
There's a mostly unknown, tiny little sliver of British history on the Isle of Man, wherein in the 1930s, a family called the Irvings essentially claimed that their farm was haunted by a talking mongoose named Jeff, G-E-F. Now, this was a true story. It was in the tabloids. It was a thing. I mean, this was it was actually even discussed in Parliament at one point, like this bizarre thing that was going on the Isle of Man. But a number of paranormal investigators went out and investigated this quote unquote haunting on the Isle of Man. One of whom was a man named Nandor Fodor, who was himself an incredibly fascinating individual. He was the first person to approach the paranormal through the lens of psychology. So rather than just this mystical sort of Arthur Conan Doyle-esque, like, you know, ghosts and mediums, he was like, no, like, what trauma did someone endure that's making them see their dead grandmother in their attic? And so when I heard this story, of course, you know, naturally I was like, oh, I have to write a script about this. And so I wrote this sort of, I would say like a Wes Anderson, Tim Burton, the Coen Brothers-y script about the time that Nandor spends out at the farm investigating the mystery of the talking mongoose Jeff. And I kind of use that bizarre little sliver of British history as a metaphor for religion versus cynicism almost. So yeah, that's what it is. It's very strange.
It's fantastic. I can tell you that, you know, one of the things that we really love about this is reading the script and how unique it is. One of the things that I think that Legion M stands for more than anything, and one of the things that we hear repeatedly from our shareholders in our community, is that they want to see original, out-of-the-box storytelling. And I feel that stories like this about a talking mongoose on the Isle of Man in the 1930s, like, they don't fit in a box, right? There's not going to be like a hot blonde with a gun on the key art, right? Which is like those are the things that so many people. Well, actually,
I just added that. Yeah, actually, sorry. Before we got on this call. Yeah, no, but, you're right, man. That's awesome. And I just want to say, I love Legion M for that, because it's my own personal mission statement. I don't do sequels. I don't do remakes or reboots or like, okay, this is what Hollywood's doing right now. I literally am like, oh, cool, they're all doing this. I'm going to do this. It's going to make it way harder to get greenlit, but I don't really care. I'm not interested in the stuff that's already out there. Like, I mean, essentially, I'm an independent filmmaker. So if you're coming to see my film, you're coming to see a film that you're not going to see from a studio. You know, it has to be something that's different. Otherwise, like, go see the Avengers. That's definitely my mission statement. And I was introduced to Legion M when I went to the premiere of Mandy, you know, and that whole era. And I was just like, God, man, like, I love that these passionate film fans are helping greenlight the types of films they want to see. It's kind of the dream, you know what I mean? And that's what Nandor is. I mean, it's definitely a unique little British dark comedy, and it's not the type of film that you see every day. I mean, it's going to be different than the stuff that's out there. So
yeah. Another thing that we love about Adam, as well as the whole team over there, Sasha, the producer, and Dom and Claire, and like everybody that we've been interfacing with, is, you know, at Legion M, we pride ourselves in our crazy ideas, right? And like, we like to break things. We like to throw wild and crazy ideas out there. And what I love about every time we lob a crazy idea over to you guys, it generally gets lobbed back even crazier.
Crazier.
Yeah.
That'll keep going.
Yeah. No, look, man, I mean, I think that the marketing that you guys did with Mandy was just so amazing. And I love that kind of stuff, man. Like, I think, like, this is such a weird sort of parallel, but like, my favorite movie when I was a kid was Army of Darkness. And it was kind of like my introduction to cult filmmaking, you know, and stuff like Army of Darkness and like Rocky Horror Picture Show, you know, like these were the first films that I was introduced to where I was like, oh, like I love that these are kind of underground and they're just have these iconic, bizarre characters. And a lot of that was like merchandising, and a lot of it was like, you know, these special screenings where people sing and chant and yell at the screen. And like, to me, that's like what Legion M kind of represents. Like, I love that sort of like super passionate underground marketing kind of vibe. Like, I think it's so great. And I think that this script and this project and the person who's the lead in this film are very conducive to that type of thing, because it has that sort of like, you know, in a completely non-derogatory, I consider this a compliment of a geek kind of way, you know, like it appeals to that sort of demographic, and that's my favorite thing.
Yes. Well, that is what Legion M is all about. And I don't think any of us here take offense at the term geek. Particularly.
You got
Yeah,
t-shirts with it on.
Yeah, our very own Claire Bateman King. So Claire, why don't you tell us real quick? There's two things that I want to talk about. One is tell us about your involvement with the film and how it came to because Claire was the one that connected us with Adam and the team over there about this film in particular. And then I want to talk about some of the crazy ideas and the things that we're looking to do with the film. So why don't you take it away, Claire?
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. So one of the producers on the film, Dominic Burns, I've sort of known for several years now, actually having met or been introduced to on the set of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So, you know, things coming together kind of in various ways. We've been looking for reasons to work together for years. And obviously we had a project in place for 2020, but I probably then don't need to tell you what happened with everything in 2020. Everything kind of stopped. So we spent 2020 and 2021 kind of going through various things. We packaged up a couple of scripts, we sold them on, but we were still looking on something to work on together. I was literally pretty much foot out of the door on my way to the airport because I was coming out to LA, and he rang me saying, I've got a script here. It's amazing. I want you to read it now, like right now. And he knew who was attached, who we can't talk about right now. He knew who was attached. And I think this could be one we could do something on. So I raced out the door. It came through a little bit later. As Adam knows, I had to buy Wi-Fi on the plane so I could read it on the 11-hour plane ride. So I downloaded it on the plane. I read it on the plane. A few hours later, I was texting David from the plane, David Baxter, our development executive, saying, this is fabulous. I think we should look at this. So by the time I landed in LA, 11 hours later, it had gone from starting to read it to everyone getting quite excited, and emails were flying everywhere. I landed on a Monday afternoon. Adam, I met you at, I think, noon on the Tuesday. And then we probably wound up in a bar that evening with Kevin Smith. So it all turned around into a big circle, which was pretty fun. And then a couple of weeks later, a deal was done. And so Dom and I are, you know, finally getting to work on a project together with Adam, and Legion M are coming in with us. I think it's a brilliant fit. And it's just fantastic how brilliantly it's all fallen into place. It is a great team. There will be some fabulous opportunities for Legion M to get involved, both immediately and going forward when we promote the film. I think we can have a lot of fun with this one. And as Jeff was mentioning, we film in Leeds. We start, rather alarmingly, next week in Leeds in England. Today. So there's a lot of prep going on at the moment. And we will be having opportunities for Legion M members and investors to come and be extras in the film. So on the page where this video is sitting, there should also be a submission form. Needless to say, I'd like to again remind, it is in Leeds in England. You will need to get yourself there. So this is very much slightly leaned towards the UK investors, but if anyone fancies getting on a plane, do let us know. We'd love to have you on board. So the form should be there. So if people are interested in doing this, I highly recommend, if you are able to do so, if you can give up a day in the next 4 weeks of filming, do it. You won't regret it. It will be a lot of fun. You will be very excited by the cast, who we cannot talk about right now, hopefully the end of the week, early next week. But yeah, you don't want to miss on this. It's a really, really fun project. And we would love to see some of you guys come visit us.
Yeah, I can attest to that. And it's, you know, it's interesting. As Claire mentioned, this whole project came together really quickly. And, you know, you guys were already pretty close to filming. We did get the chance, though, to put this out to the Legion M community in our Impulse. And so anybody that took our most recent Impulse, you know, it was in there. And those votes literally made the determination as to whether we were going to go forward. I can tell you, Adam, just based on the log line alone, people loved it. And I think that, again, I feel like this is the sort of movie why Legion M exists, to help support emerging voices like yours and tell stories like this that are outside of the box. And we've alluded to it a couple times. We can't talk about who the cast is yet because there's some legal steps that need to happen before any of that can be announced, but we are so excited because I think everybody's going to flip their lid once they learn who's in this film. So.
Yeah, he's an icon, the lead, and so is the female lead. I mean, they are paragons of British cinema. Let me put it that way. So yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So come down to be an extra, guys. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Agreed. This is a period piece. It's a 1930s period piece. So if you're an extra, you know, you're going to be in the 1930s. And
in costume.
we have some amazingly fun locations and kind of setups and stuff. Like, it's going to be cool.
Awesome. Well, Adam, is there anything else that you want to say? Again, welcome to the Legion. And, you know, what would you like to say to the Legion of fans who are standing behind you and part of this movie?
I mean, just on a personal note, you know, it'll sound a little sappy, but I'm unbelievably grateful to anyone that helps me get one of my films made, because I don't make typical films. I don't make, you know, the kind of formulaic stuff that's easy to get greenlit. Like, I have to work my butt off to get my movies made because they're weird. And then studios and, you know, distribution companies and stuff like that, like, it's a business, and they look at it and they're like, oh, this is not what we've seen before. So anybody that contributed to this in any way or does so in the future, like, it really does mean a lot to me, because this is not easy. And, you know, anyone who believes in my work, even to a small amount, like, I truly am grateful for that.
Yeah, well, that's all about risk and reward, right? Because the fact is that getting outside of the box, I think, is where
absolutely
incredible things can happen, and that's what
I agree completely.
Excited to see. So,
yep.
Cool. All
Cool.
right.
Thrilled to be along. It's very exciting.
Well, thank you, Claire. Thank you, Adam. Onward
Absolutely.
and upward to the Legion, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of you guys real soon.